Boldin recently analyzed thousands of plans and uncovered the top 10 mistakes people make, and honestly, some of them surprised me. These aren't tiny errors either. A few of them can throw off your entire projection without even realizing it. Today, we're going to go through all 10 and I'll show you exactly what to click on the screen so you can fix them fast. I'll even throw in some bonus tips at the end. Hi everyone, welcome back to Reflections in Real Talk. I'm Judy. When I first started using Boldin, I thought I had everything dialed in, and then I ran a projection and the numbers were off. Turns out I had made mistake number 3 and number 9, and once I fixed them, my plan looked completely different. So if you see yourself in any of these, trust me, you're not alone. Mistake number 1. Not realizing what settings are driving your forecast. Boldin gives you several ways to look at your plan, different inflation settings, different return settings, different withdrawal approaches, but many users don't realize which settings are currently active. The first thing I always do is make sure I'm in the correct scenario. Here I've got my baseline selected, but oftentimes when I log into Boldin, I might be on another scenario that I've built out. So I'm going to start here with the baseline, and directly to the right of that is a toggle to adjust your scenario's forecast. Now, Boldin offers today's dollars versus future dollars, like looking at your money now or hopping into a time machine to see what it might look like later. So you can understand it in a way that makes most sense for you. Use today's dollars for looking at money in today's prices, whereas future dollars is looking at money with tomorrow's prices. Inflation makes future dollars buy less than today's dollars, while interest rates help your money grow over time. So today's dollars show what your money feels like now, and future dollars show what it might look like after prices rise and your savings earn interest. Both are correct, they just answer different questions. Sometimes you want to know how much money you'll really need in the future, and other times you'll want to keep everything in today's prices so it's easier to understand. Next, we have optimistic, average, and pessimistic. And in Boldin, this helps you see how your plan performs in good times, normal times, and tough times, so you can make decisions that stay strong no matter what the future brings. When you enter your own optimistic and pessimistic rates, Boldin automatically infers the average rate. Next, we have our retirement age here modeled out as our withdrawal strategy. We have spending needs, max spending, and fixed percentage. Spending needs is based on your actual budget. Max spending is die with zero model, and fixed percentage is whatever you have selected. Next, we have the budgeter scenario here, and you want to make sure that this is selected to the correct one that you've modeled for yourself. Estimated spending is like your retirement spending smile. You've got your working years, your early retirement or go-go years, your slow-go years, mid-retirement, and no-go years towards the end of longevity. And then the basic budgeter allows you to utilize lump sum amounts. You can also build different segments or phases for that as well manually. And then the detailed budgeter calculates everything if you set it up properly, and you have both must spend, which is keep the lights on mode, and like to spend, living large mode. Don't overlook this bottom hyperlink here. Edit rate assumptions. I'm going to click that. It's going to open up my inflation and appreciation assumptions here. Now, I currently have it selected optimistic, pessimistic, but you can use the historical average 2.54%. That's the recommended rate. Housing appreciation you might adjust in particular to your area. And then you can look at this article which describes the assumptions for inflation and appreciation. Mistake number 2 is skipping the retirement age tool, and your retirement age is one of the biggest drivers of your entire plan. So we want to go to my plan and summary, and here we have the retirement age tool, and you click the edit tool and you select your proper retirement age according to your plan. While it might seem like a simple date, it actually acts as a master switch for several key areas of your plan. For example, many income streams like work and expenses are often set to end or begin at retirement, and this is the proper way to select your stop age versus a particular date to make sure that when you change your retirement age, this flexes with you. For example, when your primary job is set to end, this should align with your planned retirement age. Under money flows, withdrawal strategy typically kicks in once your earned income stops, signaling the software to start tapping your savings to cover spending gaps. Here you can see under my plan summary, my financial journey, retirement also indicated right here on this chart. chart. Mistake number 3 is letting excess income sit in a 0% account. A lot of users don't realize that leftover income automatically goes into a default holding account that earns nothing. So make sure you go to Money Flows, Excess Income, and select the proper account for these funds to go into. So here I'm going to click the pencil icon again. You can see it's defaulting to cash default account, and I'd like to select the brokerage account. So here, rather than select the cash account, I'm going to select the brokerage account. And another feature that is offered is selecting what percentage of funds are saved to that account. So for example, you could select that to 100%, and you can also model a different percentage saved in the future if you'd like to save 50% in the future and spend the other 50%, for example, on vacations. Mistake number 4 is choosing the wrong type of retirement account. This one is extremely common. So for example, for a workplace 401k, make sure you have selected the 401k or the 403b or 457, not a traditional IRA. You can also select the Roth 401k if your workplace contributions are going into a Roth account here. If you pick the wrong account type, Boldin won't capture your contributions correctly. Mistake number 5, contributions aren't being counted correctly. Income-linked contributions don't automatically hit the IRS limits. You have to enter them manually. This particular paycheck deduction is associated with Tom's corporate 401k account, and he contributes $1,000 a month. I could theoretically exceed the annual IRS limit, which for Tom, who's over 50 this year, is $32,500. The reason Boldin allows you to exceed the annual limit is because you can model a mega backdoor Roth contribution. So make sure you're entering the correct number in here so you don't exceed those limits. And make sure you enter contributions directly so Boldin captures the full amount. You can also check those numbers in Money Flow's reoccurring contributions. And here you'll see the same contribution for $1,000. If this is already helping you, go ahead and like this video. It supports the channel, and subscribe so you don't miss future breakdowns on retirement planning, Social Security timing, and smart money decisions. Next is mistake number 6, using the wrong tax treatment for after-tax accounts. So let's go back to assets and debts. I've already modeled this out for us. We had a brokerage account. I'm calling it brokerage account number 1 with $110,000, but half of that is treated as capital gains and half is ordinary income. So you want to make sure that if you have one account, but there are several different investment types within that account, those are modeled correctly. And the other thing you want to include is cost basis, especially when there's capital gains. Next, you want to enter dividend yield. And for this example, the rate of return for this account is actually 6.08 with a 2% dividend yield. So I've adjusted the rate of return upwards to account for that dividend percentage. And also want to point out here a new toggle. You can model a rate change in the future. Lastly, you can also exclude these accounts from your withdrawal strategy by clicking this toggle yes or no. And a simple rule of thumb, cash, bonds, or non-qualified dividends are treated as ordinary income, whereas stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds are treated with capital gains. Mistake number 7, missing cost basis or using high turnover settings. If you skip cost basis, Boldin can't model taxes correctly. If you set turnover too high, you'll see unnecessary tax drag. Mistake number 8 is entering home costs in the wrong place, and this is a big one. When you're entering your mortgage payments, it should not include your property taxes and insurance. So for this example, with a payment of $3,500, if the taxes and insurance add an additional $500, and the true mortgage payment, including principal and interest, is only $3,000, I'd want to adjust this down and add that $500 into my budgeting tool. Here you can see that we're using the detailed budgeter. I'd click on the pencil tool and add my expense. Property taxes, $400, and click save. We also had some insurance there for another $100. Homeowners or renter insurance. Make sure you put the proper start and stop age and click save. Mistake number 9, one-time expenses are not adjusted for inflation. So now again, we're still here on expenses and healthcare, and I do have have a one-time expense for a roof replacement in January of 2038 for $60,000. This price must reflect the cost of that roof in the year 2038. Another way to model that is to delete it here, put it in the reoccurring expenses. I'm using the detailed budgeter tool today, and I'm going to add another expense for roof replacement, and we're going to put $60,000, and we're going to put the year 2038. Now the trick with this is to enter the same start and stop date, 2038. And we want to make sure that the frequency is set to annually. So again, this is a one-time expense, but it's captured in the detailed budgeting tool using this estimator, which will project that cost out to the future in 2038 with inflation. Mistake number 10, one-time expenses are not properly funded. When you do add one-time expense, I'm going to say daughter's wedding contribution, $75,000. You want to make sure that you select the correct funding source. Now here I've got the withdrawal order selected, but if I had a particular account that I wanted to make sure I'm utilizing to cover that cost, you want to select it here manually. And if that account doesn't have the $75,000 when those funds are earmarked for, and let's just say 2030, it's a one-time expense, it's not tax deductible. So if the balance in that brokerage account does not have $75,000, Boldin won't automatically pull it from another account. You will get an alert, but the expense will stay underfunded. Or you could just change that to the withdrawal order and save. And I did say I was going to throw in a couple bonuses here. Now, if you're 5 years or 10 years away from retirement, perhaps you and your spouse don't really have a great idea about how to model Medicare expenses, and that's okay. You can go into the plan here. Don't forget to include something. And one way to model it is to select the original Medicare with Medigap policy and a drug plan. That's a fairly conservative choice. It will estimate a higher cost for you, and then choose medium premium. And that gives you an expense there. But while we're on this, you might see that there is no estimate for the spouse. So make sure you include both you and your spouse. And here's another common oversight. If you selected your medical expenses before 65, but you failed to document those for your spouse, that's a large omission that's going to impact your plan. So don't forget to cover that and put in any number, even if it's an employer sponsored plan and the costs are nominal. Here you see for the stop age, it'll stop right before Medicare, and you click save. Now, periodically, some people do continue to have coverage through their employer through Medicare years. That's another element we'll talk about later. And lastly, I want to talk about long-term care. If you plan to use your home equity to fund the cost, here you'll notice it gives you a little prompt. You must model getting a reverse mortgage to fund the home care or selling your home to fund a nursing home. So over here under home and real estate, you'll want to model future changes to primary residence. And when you click on this, you have several options. You'd want to click on reverse mortgage or sell or rent or refinance. Okay, so you can't just list use home equity without taking the second step. Remember how I said Boldin identified the top 10 mistakes people make? Now you know exactly what they are and how to fix them. And once you do, your Boldin plan becomes far more accurate, far more realistic, and honestly, far more empowering. If you want to explore Boldin for yourself, I'll put my affiliate link below. Using my affiliate link supports the channel at no extra cost to you, and you can start with the free version, the 14-day trial, or upgrade to the Planner Plus if you want the full power of the AI agents. Thanks for spending this time with me today. If you want more videos on retirement planning, Social Security timing, Roth conversions, or how to build a confident financial future, stick around. I've got plenty more coming. This is Judy from Reflections and Real Talk. See you in the next one.